Hey, welcome back to this Wednesday edition of FreightWaves Now. We've got Miss BLYTHE BRUMLEVE. I'm sorry, I always mess that up. BLYTHE. She is the host of CYBERLY. Yeah, it's not the easiest. I'll give the alliteration and the difficulty with the syllables. I can't be the only one.
No, it's
Welcome to the
happened my
show.
entire life. Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you, Blythe. Last week's episode of CYBERLY was really, really interesting. If you haven't watched it, make sure that you go do that up on FreightWaves.com. Talking all about the great job exodus, as I called it, the Great Resignation, as you called it. People are leaving their jobs because, like as we were talking about, it's a job seeker's market. They're looking for better things out there on the horizons. Talk to us about what you're seeing.
Well, it really, if we back it up just a little bit, and when I say just a little bit, I mean a lot. For the majority of human existence, we have 95% of human existence. We've only worked around 15 hours a week, and so for the majority of the time, our modern workday, even over the last, has really only been over the last 100 years, and it's taken an event, a global event like COVID, in order for a lot of people to take a step back and really look at where are they happy in their life, their work-life balance. They're learning new skills. They're not going back to the old jobs, especially in retail and the service industry. So it's a really fascinating look into seeing how many people are looking at the current job market and saying, well, I don't necessarily want to go back to my old job. I would like to explore something new.
So BLYTHE, what are what are the types of things that you're seeing? I mean, people are not going back to retail or some of those maybe low-end jobs. Are you seeing that also, on higher-end jobs? People that have found the freedom to, let's say, they were working in a high-tech job, making good money, but they were also working for somebody else, weren't able to use their creative abilities in the best of their manner. Are you seeing those people branch out and also try to start their own thing, or maybe find a lesser-paying job that they don't have to work as much? Is there just a whole switch going on here in the labor market?
It's essentially exactly what you said. Even if it doesn't matter if it's a high paying job or even a lower paying job, people are choosing to go after the work that gives them the most bang for their buck, that gives them the freedom to only work 30 or 40 hours a week. There was a survey done by Contra that surveyed 10,000 independent workers, and the overwhelming majority of them work less than 40 hours a week, which, as someone who works a lot, that sounds really nice to only consider working 30 or 40 hours a week. And then it also gives the opportunity for these folks to go after more meaningful work. So doing freelancing, doing gig work, going after the charities that they're passionate about, or the brands that they're passionate about. That's where people are finding more meaningful and also having a greater work-life balance.
So, Blythe, a lot of people are looking back and they're saying everything that I was told I needed to do or everything that I had been doing is not the way anymore. We absolutely want to change things up because, it doesn't make me happy, doesn't make me fulfilled. I hate sitting at a desk 8 hours a day to take a 1 hour lunch and still have my boss yell at me for not being productive enough, right? Talk to us a little bit about how much social media has driven this transition from you are the standard 8 hour a day, 40 hour week, clock in, clock out employee to I can set my own hours, I can market with my own brands, I can connect with these people on a different level that I didn't really have the opportunity to before. And now it's affording me the opportunity to take my career into my own hands.
Well, that's really the ethos of social media, right? Like we can make these connections. We're no longer limited to the people that we can network in our local area, our local town, or even, especially from a marketing perspective or a sales perspective. The only real way, years ago that you would get business is by going to different conferences. Now with social media, that has essentially opened the ball game to a global market where it's not just the employees that are working in these small towns that now have the ability to work for big name brands all over the globe. So it really has evened the playing field for really the first time in worker history. I want to say that the market is in the workers' favor versus the company's behavior, where it's really sort of the time to shine as far as a worker is concerned. You can go out there and you can get that raise, or if you're a company now, it's more important than ever to go out and secure your top talent and to keep them from keep having those wandering eyes and going to other opportunities, because those opportunities are out there. Everyone is hiring and everyone is starting to pay more, give more benefits. And so if you're a worker right now and you're highly skilled, it might be time to just shoot your shot and see what else is out there and to see what's available. And on the flip side, from the company standpoint, now is the time to secure that top talent because they will be poached if you're not careful.
BLYTHE, I think one of the big points here that we haven't mentioned is this work from home movement. I wanted to ask, first off, does big companies or even the majority of companies, if they were to go back to an office, go away from work from home, does that kind of destroy this trajectory we have here of people doing more meaningful work, being able to work more types of jobs that they like? And also, as an employer, if you are watching your competition going back to working in office, how does that make you feel? I mean, how do you look at that, and what's the dynamic there in your decision to whether to work from home or to go back to the office?
I think it really has to be a hybrid model because I'm somebody who loves to work from home. I don't necessarily want to go into the office, but I do know that there's a certain kind of magic that happens whenever you're all working together in a team environment. So I think for a lot of companies, if they adopt a less rigid approach where you have to be at your desk from 8 to 6 p.m. every single day, or otherwise you're not going to work for us, I think they need to be a little bit more flexible and a lot less controlling and micromanaging versus trusting your employees that they're still going to get the job done. So I think that there's still kind of a happy medium that we can find ourselves in where you are maybe once or twice a week. You have the company meetings where it's the brainstorming meetings, everybody comes in, it's all hands on deck. And then you have the rest of the time where you can work from home, where you can take care of the kids, where you don't have to worry about that commute, especially, from a woman's perspective. I don't have to do my hair. I don't have to do my makeup. I don't have to pick a new outfit every single day in order to drive into the office and maybe sit in traffic for an hour. That's a lot of time wasted that you could be spending at home doing things that are really more meaningful to you and actually somewhat achieve that work life balance, which is increasingly what is more important to a lot of workers today.
Life, you share my sentiment about that hair, outfit, makeup, all of the above, all of the above. Of course, you are the founder, the owner of Freight School Playbook. How do you drive that point home to the brokers, to the people in the freight industry who typically have this idea of if you are not chained to your desk, then you're not working productively for us? How have you kind of helped lead them into this transition about saying, you know what, we can do things differently and still have you just as productive as if your employees were in office full time?
Oh, it's still dragging them in like kicking and screaming. I think it really would have been only COVID that took a lot of companies in order to adopt working from home. I know my former employer, he absolutely hates everyone working from home, so could not wait to get everybody back in the office. But that's his style of work. He loves to be around people. And so I think it's having that ability to be flexible with your employees. If they thrive off of that environment, then absolutely have everybody back in the office. But if they don't thrive in that environment and you have teams like accounting or customer service or other aspects that can be done from home, let them work from home. So you really need to get away from that sort of rigid approach where you want to be a micromanager, and you have to let that go. If you're not willing to let that go, I think a lot of employees, especially from a leadership perspective, will seek other opportunities because they don't want to be micromanaged like that. But some employees might need to be micromanaged.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. Blythe, can you give us a 15-second shoot what coming up on Cyberly?
Sure. So tomorrow with Cyberly, we have Miles from Cargo Logic. He's the founder and CEO of that company. He's going to be talking about their freight brokerage software. And then we also have Ramil from Truck and Hustle podcast. It's the #1 trucking podcast. Self-proclaimed that he's doing a fantastic job on YouTube and all the various social media networks.
Love that. We'll tune in tomorrow afternoon. Blythe, thanks for joining us this morning on FreightWaves Now.